when Jason started doing things, I would see him do something, and he'd look at me, and then he would slap his hand. He'd slap
I
his own hand.
remembered that.
Remember?
Yes. Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
And that was, and for a while that was a real problem, touching the stove. Do you remember? Oh, you weren't there, but you must have heard the story about the pizza box catching on fire.
Yeah, that's what happened at my work recently, but we won't go there. But yeah,
The
but can I give a side note?
pizza box that I had
Can
just
I?
gotten delivered had it sitting on top of the oven, the stove.
Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Grandma's
Grandma's not
Not Right.
right.
Yeah, Grandma's not right.
No.
And the whole purpose of this channel is for Wendy and me, Cheryl, to tell our life stories, not only as what it's like being a grandmother, but
Yes.
also just our life growing up as sisters and all the adventures we've been on. So we're wrapping up this month, April, which was Autism Month, and my son has severe autism, and therefore we made this month about autism. So
Yes.
this is the last episode that's going to be all about that. Um, we may have a little ranting going on in this one, just a little.
Oh,
Might get a
ranting.
little political.
I was told I can't make fun of people's disabilities.
No,
So,
no, we can't go down that road.
fine.
All right. So, any funny, exciting things happen to you this week?
Hmm. Well, speaking of autism, I had a girl at my school who's almost she's as tall as me. I don't know, like months ago I had maybe a half inch on her, but she's as tall as me. She's strong as an ox. And again, the class I'm in is mostly physically uh, disabled children, not behavior, but a couple of them do have behaviors as well. And so this young lady has autism, and I wasn't holding her down. I wasn't doing anything. I just was I'm blocking her from going out the door. That's it. Because she was not wanting to do what she was supposed to do, and I put something outside the door in the classroom to keep her from it because it was becoming just out of control. And she says, "I want it. I want it." So I just put my arm, my elbow right here was already having some sore issues. Plus, the gymnastics and everything. So it's not like I injured it at work, or it was just it's sore. I'm old. You bend your elbow so many ways, and you're 58 years, something's gonna happen. So but it tweet like I just made it worse. So the whole day yesterday, I wore an elbow brace. I had some roll on. I think it was my son gave me some THC roll on icy hot kind of stuff, and it really did work. And I took a bunch of ibuprofen. Anyway, so it was tough because you feel bad for the kid, but
Hmm.
you're so annoyed by them because they're being awful. Like she's dripping, her nose is just dripping. She has no tears when she goes, "Ah, ah," but the snot and it's clear snot. It's not even green, running down. And I'm like, dude, I don't want your snot on me. I'm like, ew. And then I try to wipe her nose, and she won't let you wipe her nose. It's just interesting. But then once things cool down, an hour later, she's trying to engage with me in a conversation about something that we have some fun little things that we share, 6, 7, and all that kind of stuff. So she's trying, I think that's her way of almost saying sorry in a way, but I don't know
Probably.
because she's really just on to the next thing. In autism, it's like I don't feel there's a level of remorse in there in a sense. Like they do it in a different way, but it's not like we do it. They don't maybe dwell on it. I don't know. We're not in their
Yeah.
heads, but it's just that was hard this week. That was a hard one. Um, but that's really all. I don't have anything that really stood out that any of my family or my animals or anybody did anything crazy. It was just
It's everyone has an answer to how to deal with the behaviors, but just like typical neurotypical people, people with autism have very different ways that they deal with stress, or very
right,
different ways that any psychological approach or behavioralist approach, it'll work well with one and not the other. I do know one thing that I've learned with Jace, though, is that he does not like to get things wrong, and he does not like to he doesn't like to be corrected, but he also
right.
doesn't like when we're mad at him.
Yeah,
So if he thinks someone's mad at him, he gets really upset. So what I realize is that Jason, he doesn't like it when someone's mad at him. If he thinks somebody's mad at him,
oh
like
yeah,
if you get mad at him, or he thinks he's in trouble for something, it really bothers him. And I think yelling at them, or you know, punishing them when they know they did something wrong and they get punished, no problem. Like, I'll send him to his room for something that he's done that he knows he's not supposed to do, and he's laughing about it because he thinks he got away with it or whatever, and I'll say, nope, you can't do that out here. You got to go to your room. Go to your room and close your door.
yeah,
He'll argue, but he'll eventually go and then beg to come out, and then he will tell me exactly why he had to go to his room. So I know
right.
that he understands why. And in those moments, I don't feel bad. The only times I
Yeah,
feel bad is if I lose my temper and yell,
yeah.
because I know that you can tell it really hurts him, because he'll say things like, it's like, "Mommy, it's okay. Mommy, it's
Oh,
okay,"
it's the
or,
worst. Yeah.
um,
Oh,
I mean, he says things that just breaks your heart, and you're like, "Oh, I hurt his
yeah.
feelings because I yelled at him," you know. So I try really hard not to do that, but
Well,
um,
also, I saw, excuse me, I saw on like I don't know, it was Instagram, TikTok, somebody talking, there's people that chime in. I remember when, maybe they're on the spectrum and they remember their youth and talk about things like, their parents use the belt on them or whatever, which is
yeah,
obviously that's a no-no and illegal. And I know with ADHD, my experience, you give a corporal punishment, any kind of physical punishment, that kid is either going to shut down completely or it's going to manifest in another way or whatever. It doesn't work with those kids. And
no,
and I
that's
know
it.
there's different I'm going to say is there's different cultures, and even within our classroom I've heard things that I'm like questionable, and I'm a mandated reporter, so it's like, okay, they're walking a slippery slope. You hear a teacher mention something and you're like, about a past kid or something, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
did they report this? You
Well, I know um, when when Jason was first, a toddler, and first starting to do things, touch things he shouldn't, or just anything that was considered naughty, I guess.
yeah,
Uh, his other parent wanted to slap his hand for everything.
yeah.
Well, if I keep slapping his hand, he'll remember, and he won't want his hand to be slapped, and he'll stop doing it eventually. Part of the problem was things like he liked to turn the stove knobs. Well, obviously
Yeah,
that's not, we can't have that, right?
yeah,
And other little things like that. And I tried to explain to him. I said, from everything I've read and from everything that I've seen in my own work, these kids with autism and other neural
right.
neuro
Neurodivergent.
I'm neurodivergent. Thank you. I was going to say neuro different. the
Yeah,
They associate, some of them associate a certain behavior with a certain reaction. So basically what you're doing is you're reinforcing the action. The only thing you're adding to it now is, oh yeah, I get a slap after I do that. It's not,
right.
I get a slap because I'm not supposed to do that. You know what I'm
That's just
saying?
part of touching. I touch the knobs, I
It,
get a slap.
yeah, and I proved that because um, when Jason started doing things, I would see him do something, and he'd look at me, and then he would slap his hand. He'd slap
I
his own hand.
remembered that.
Remember?
Yes. Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
And that was, and for a while that was a real problem, touching the stove. Do you remember? Oh, you weren't there, but you must have heard the story about the pizza box catching on fire.
Yeah, that's what happened at my work recently, but we won't go there. But yeah.
I
But can I give a
had a
side note?
pizza box that I had
Can
just
I?
gotten delivered, had it sitting on top of the oven, the stove.
Right.
And I went to get the plates. I don't know what I was doing, and then I was stopped to talk to one of the girls,
Right.
my daughters, and all of a sudden somebody said, "What is that smell? It smells like smoke." And
Pizza
then
and smoke.
the smoke alert went off in the kitchen.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
go running in there, and the pizza was on fire, and the stove had been turned on, and Jason was just standing in the kitchen, and I'm like, "Oh my God," you know. Anyway, so those kinds of things you have to figure out a way, you know. And yeah, they have the baby covers, and we had to do all kinds of things like that, obviously.
Yeah.
But just the point that when he would do something he knew was wrong, he was so conditioned by his other parent that it meant a hand slap, that he would do it and then slap his own hand. So the
He'd still do the that's the point. He'd still do the behavior that you
yeah,
don't want. The slap was just, oh, I want to do this behavior, and a slap is part of it,
yeah, it's
not a
now
punishment.
associated
Yeah,
with that. So, and
exactly.
all behaviors for the most part, especially with these kids, is it's association, and that's why too they'll have meltdowns in certain places because something has happened that now is associated with that place,
Yes.
and it was so
Yeah.
traumatic to them that now every time they go to that same place they're going to have the same reaction even though
Right.
there's nothing happening, you know.
Yeah.
So most people don't know that, especially if you're a brand new parent. You know, you haven't had any other kids and you haven't had any training, and here you are with this autistic child, and you don't know these things, and nobody offers to teach you these things.
Right. Well, and you know what? It's not even just special ed. I just realized while we're talking something I witnessed when I picked my granddaughter up from school. So I am kind of more of a grouchy grandma that wants things a certain way, that Gen Xer, you know. I understand the gentle parenting, and we do it. We just talked about it. I mean, we just experienced it earlier when we were in Starbucks and my grandchild was there, and
I wasn't
we're
very
all,
gentle. Well, I guess I was gentle. I
no,
butted
but
in.
it wasn't being gentle or not gentle, but I could see the look on your face and on our mom's face. We all have the same thing, like you behave in public. Well, I don't like just giving her my phone. I brought the notebook. I told her we were going to play the dots game. I stopped playing with her. She's used to me playing a game. I'm talking and I'll play the game at the same time. I try to bring her stuff to do. She shouldn't have to just sit there and twiddle her thumbs and do nothing while we talk.
Right,
That's boring for a
right,
kid and a kid with energy. I totally get that. However, if I say get off the seat 2 times, 3 times, because so someone can sit down, get off the fucking seat. Because I told you, kind of thing, right? Which I would have said that back to my kids back in the day. I don't say that to my granddaughter, but I would say, get off the fucking seat so people can sit down. See, I am gentler and kinder because I don't
yes,
say
you
those
are.
things anymore. But okay, so I was walking her. I usually pick her up and cross the crosswalk, and then go towards the park, down the sidewalk towards the park. Always, I park along the side of the street where the park is. Okay, and so she likes to stand on these. There's like pipes that look like this. It's harmless. They're just pipes, that are water pipes. She stands on it, does like an arabesque, and then jumps down. And I always make a joke like, I guess that was okay. You need to point your toe better. I joke with her. It's this
Yeah.
little thing we do. And then sometimes, that was a really good one. So she did that, and she hops down. And then I see this this lady holding her daughter's hand in front of us, and the girl holds on to the stops, one of the, like a sign, not a stop sign, but just a no parking sign, whatever the sign is, and holds it long enough that it kind of jerks the mom's hand back a little bit while she's holding her hand, and then the mom just goes, "What are you doing? Come on," and I'm just like, oh my God. And I feel bad because on the one hand, I immediately zapped into not every parent knows how to deal with that. And there's that balance between gentle parenting and someone like me going, hey, sit up, let someone sit down, not going, now, Amelia, I know you're trying to feel your feelings, but laying down on the Starbucks bench and laying all out. But see, these young people want to sit down and you're in their spot. And it's easier just to go sit up. And then she's all pouting. It's like, do you see this person sitting down? That's why I asked you to get up. It's just in our minds, it's quicker to get to the point than to make that person stand there while we're telling this girl for 5 minutes why she
and
needs to get up,
and in this situation, viewer, let me tell you, the way we were sitting, Wendy was kind of facing me, and my mom was over in the corner, and my mom and I could see everything your granddaughter was doing.
Yes.
You couldn't see what she was doing. What she was doing, and the reason both of us were like, oh my God, after the first time telling her, hey, they need to sit down there, she would slowly lay back, she'd look at them, and she'd inch as far as she could with her body in her hands to try to make sure she was in their space on purpose.
Yeah, I know. I saw her doing that.
That we were like, oh, dude, no. It's one thing if you're accidentally getting in their space, but you're doing it on purpose, and you're 7. Come on.
Anyway, so we did not ask about how your week was, sis.
Oh, it just actually, again this week, Jason did not want to go to his day program.
Is this the second week in a row then?
Yeah, and
no.
So he was fine. I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad week. It wasn't, he didn't, he was happy. But I can tell that he's in such need of constant attention that I can tell that he starts to get more irritated because he's so bored, obviously. And I mean, he has a whole bunch of things he could be doing. It's not like he can't do something to entertain himself. He just doesn't really know how to entertain himself. I mean, so it was another week like that where I was trying to get things done that I needed to do. I've got a book I'm supposed to be formatting for publishing for somebody, for a client.
Oh, good for you. I didn't know that. We'll have to talk about that later. I didn't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So, and I'm being paid to do it. So it's like I have to get it done. It's not like a favor or,
Right.
So, and then I'm also trying to prepare for an art show. So I'm trying to get my stuff done without neglecting him. I'm trying to include him. Come on in, buddy. Yes. Come and sit while I paint and we'll talk. Oh, yeah. Or I'm next to him on the couch with my computer, doing my book formatting or whatever I'm doing. And he's jealous. He doesn't really mind if I'm painting. He never cares if I'm doing housework. He never cares if I'm fixing his dinner.
Yeah. That's why he said he's like a 1950s husband.
Only if I'm on my phone or my computer. That he can't deal with.
He's such a dick. I love him, but he's a dick.
But the other day, it was so funny, and I'll play the video, but the other day, he just, out of the blue, started laughing hysterically. Mike and I are sitting on the couch. He just started laughing hysterically. And I mean that wheezy whiskey laugh, the one where there's no sound coming out.
So funny. Thank you.
What are you laughing at?
It's yucky.
What?
Yucky.
You're yucky.
Yucky.
It is.
You're still gonna laugh?
Oh,
that's what I do. Just like his old Aunt Wendy. Okay.
And it's, I mean, hysterical, where his whole face is just one big smile. And
well, yeah, because I've heard him go. Because I've heard him go. Like he does that one. This was more than that.
Full out hysterical laughter for like 5 minutes. I can't wait. And he couldn't stop. And I don't know.
And you don't know what happened? Like you couldn't detect what happened before and after?
I don't know, but I mean, he did that several times this week. So there's that. And, the only thing about that is I know that there are certain neurological conditions that can cause uncontrollable hysterical laughter.
Okay.
So since he's had seizures, since he's had, I'm always thinking,
Yeah.
uh-oh, is this some new thing that his brain
yeah.
has decided to manifest?
Isn't that sad though? Isn't that sad that you want to just go instead of being like, maybe he found some shit funny or
He's
something
just really
funny.
happy and
He's
something's
laughing, and then
funny.
you're like, it must be something wrong. No,
I
and
don't
it's
feel
hard
like
because
that.
you do want to look out for that though. You do
I'm
need to
just
look out for
saying
that.
that I'm keeping note of it.
Yeah.
Because if it continues to happen, because he'll do it while he's at the dinner table with his mouth full of food.
Oh yeah, that's not
So,
good.
that's dangerous and disgusting. But the other thing he did out of the blue, he's watching. He loves to watch music videos, so he's watching music videos, and he started doing this clap thing, this rhythm to the music video.
Yeah, you showed me that. I remember that one. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then he was all of a sudden discovered the original song Frenzy that we wrote together, and that video of you singing it, and he's just fascinated by that. And he sings it, and he sings the harmony part.
Right, but
It's who's that?
Frenzy.
Frenzy. Who's singing? Who is that singing?
Frenzy.
Wendy.
Wendy.
Singing Frenzy?
Yeah.
Cool.
wait a minute. Let me ask though, did you preface it with saying this is a song that Mommy wrote and Aunt Wendy sang and Mike was in? Like, what's
He's learned how to go on YouTube on our TV. He goes on his
okay?
YouTube,
Shit, sorry.
and he has several channels that are my channels or
Right.
whoever's,
Okay.
right? But he's learned that if he goes and he gets on my channel, that he can look at all the videos in my library that are my own videos. So he's
So
learned
he's
how
already
to find
figured that out.
Yeah. So he goes and he clicks on my playlist,
Okay.
and that's how he discovered that and several other songs.
Wow.
And he goes back to
Wow.
them all the time. He also has found how to get to one of the other subscriptions from another channel I have that has all of Lauren's
Oh
and
yeah.
some of Miranda's music on it.
Right. That's right. I knew
You know,
that.
and he goes back and forth playing those. So, because those are on his subscription list, so he can find them that way.
Okay. Okay.
That's how he discovered it. Wasn't because I played it for him.
So he discovered Frenzy on his
discovered it.
own?
He discovered it on my playlist.
So you didn't show him. He literally found Frenzy on his own.
He was playing my playlist, and he came
I know,
across
that's
that
what I
song.
mean.
Yes.
But that's on his own.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't fucking know that.
And then I said, Jason, do you know who that is singing? And at first he wasn't sure, and they kept looking, and I said, does that look like Aunt Wendy? And he goes, Wendy, and
Oh
so
my
now he
gosh.
knows that it's you. But
Well,
'cause
that
you look
was
so
like
different.
that was like 30 years ago.
Years ago.
Jeez.
You had long hair. It was a little different.
We were all younger. Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, that is pretty much what was going on this week is just more discoveries. But
So funny.
I guess that kind of really leads us right into the subject because we're talking about on this final day of Autism Talk, just that he never stops progressing. It's like, and I don't have any delusions that he's going to be, quote, typical or
Yeah.
neurotypical anytime soon. I don't know. I have no idea what the future holds for him. But I
don't
do
know.
see little milestones that he continues to hit.
Sorry.
And like we talked about last week, you were saying that you've noticed this with some of the kids you work with, and
Oh, yeah.
you've noticed this as I have with some of the videos that we see from other moms.
Oh yeah, the
You know?
people we follow on social media, like it just seems to be some kind of awakening, and that's why I'm like, what's happening? Is
Yeah.
this some kind of, like in nature when a certain flower blooms out of nowhere after 100 years, or the pine cones that are only able to bloom or seed
After a
under fire.
fire.
I'm like, it just is so bizarre to me that your story and all these stories, and like I said with some of the kids I work with, this girl's asking us things that she's never asked before, and she's not 30. That's what I mean. I guess my point is, okay, if it was all 30-year-old autistic
Right,
kids,
right.
okay, then you could say, well, they in the 90s they did this and then this happened, and it was a process and they're all the same. But it just to me seems like there's kids, because that Eli kid is probably a teenager. He's not in his
Yeah.
30s.
No.
Jason's in his 30s. Eli's in his 20s. This girl I work with is 13. And it seems like all of a sudden there's this weird awakening. I'm sorry, but I love to believe in mythical shit. I love to believe in
Yeah.
aliens. I would love to believe that something has awoken in our society. I don't care if it's the Mandela effect. I don't care if it's, time travel, whatever. I feel like something's happening. It's just too coincidental that this shit's going on to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I'm right there with you. I mean, because I'm woo woo too. But
Yeah.
I my other thought on this though is
The
that
debunking side. No, I'm just kidding.
no, something
The
that goes hand in
scientific
hand.
part.
Well, it is, but it's something that goes hand in hand with it. In that,
Right.
the more educated people in general become,
You
when
mean
it
like
comes
the
to
parents
autism,
and society? Yeah. Okay.
parents, family members, society,
Teachers. Yeah.
the more they're depicted and talked about on social media or on television or whatever.
True.
The neurodiverse community themselves are exposed to all that, right?
Yeah.
And if they're able to pick up on certain thoughts or certain things, they would start to grasp things that they normally couldn't just be taught. It's almost like how when an infant first learns about its environment, you're not necessarily teaching that infant things. They're learning by exploring and by cause and effect and whatnot,
Yes.
right? So in a way, it's the same to me, but in that they have developed a really keen sense of observation in a way, or reading somebody's feelings, reading their face, reading whatever it is, their energy, I don't know. And I feel like they're starting to kind of be able to not necessarily read your mind, but to pick up on so many nuances that you don't even know they notice.
Yeah.
Because they don't make eye contact. They don't even know your face. They're not even listening to you when you're talking to them. I mean, that's what we thought in the past. But now, we know that there's way more going on in there. And
Yeah.
we have so many authors that have begun to speak, or that maybe can't speak, but they're able to type out a book and tell
Yeah.
us
Like Temple
what it was like,
Grandin and
what
her.
they were thinking
her
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thought is just that it's a combination of just something, I don't know, something that we're all coming together at the same
as a
time.
as a society,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Like a
No,
collective
I can
you
see
know,
that too.
evolution.
Also, just I think of it in if we want to think of it in manifesting terms, this is kind of what I'm getting to. I may be way off base, but just like when you think about, we've talked about this before. Nobody saw anybody dunk a basketball back in the day. The first
Yeah.
time someone sees that, they're like, "What the fuck? That guy just put a basketball with his hands and
Jumped all the way
touched
up there.
and so everybody tried to do it. The first time someone saw like a Jackie Chan parkour kind of move, they're like, what the hell? And then everyone's trying it, or whatever. So that makes
Right.
sense. Like, now we have these shows and social media like the Love on the Spectrum, which I've not watched the whole thing. I just know about it. and I follow that girl Abby just because I know, I vaguely know about the show. And because this girl like just sang the national anthem at a hockey game, she was right on the cusp. Like she did really good. She did really good. She loves to sing. She wants to sing, and it really was done pretty good, and or pretty well, I should say. Whatever. Anyway, don't judge me. But so the more parents, like you said, the more a parent sees, then they're going to manifest that. Oh, that kid did that. Well, my kid can do it. The same with the Down syndrome. How many, we all thought Down syndrome was like, oh, if you were
Right.
told, we were told they're only going to be like 7 years old for the rest of their life. Well, then that's what they're going to be because that's what we were told and that's what we manifested. And then that, like the show, what was that show about with Corky?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it, but I know the show.
Yeah, it was a show back in the 80s and it had a kid that had Down syndrome. We were all exposed to that, but that kid was an actor. That kind of
Right.
sparked the community for Down syndrome to show this kid is a freaking actor and he's Down syndrome. And then and now you've got Down syndrome influencers. They're doing the channel by themselves or whatever. They're living with another Down syndrome person in a community. So now we know we can have assisted living. That kid that used to work with us named Nick, he had assisted living. He rode his bike all around town, went to the bars and did karaoke. He'd get busted on his bike for drunk driving on his bike. But
Oh my
hey,
God.
but hey, he had to
was living
learn,
independently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like with Jace. I don't know that he'll ever be at that point. Who knows what the future holds? For right now, he needs constant supervision because he doesn't understand social expectations on behavior, for one thing, and so he would get himself into trouble. And you mentioned Nick. Nick got himself into trouble a couple of
Yes, he
times
did.
because he overstepped his bounds when it came to young ladies that he was interested in.
Oh yeah, that
So
too.
those are the
Yeah.
things that they need constant supervision if they're not able to
Right.
grasp that concept of society expectations, guidelines, rules,
Yeah.
laws. But the other thing is just being able to communicate. I could try to teach him, and I do. I mean, we go shopping, and I'll have him give them the money or whatever for whatever
Yeah.
it is he wants, and I let him pick things out he wants, and he unloads the groceries into the truck. He puts the cart away. I mean, he's learning to do these regular things.
Right.
But to expect him at some point to be able to go shopping on his own, it's just he's not.
Not right now, like you said, not right now.
Yeah.
We're not saying that it's never say never, but he couldn't, what would he do? Ride the bus or ride an Uber and then get off and go to the store? Like
Right. It's
I
like
feel-
being able to handle all of that. He hasn't even understood how letters, he knows his alphabet inside and out, recognizes letters and numbers. He can recognize like 2 to 3 letter words for the most part. But to actually understand how words form sentences, to read something, or even because he can't speak in a way that
Yeah.
you can understand him, he's not going to be able to ask for something or,
right.
so he needs constant supervision and assistance in that way. But in the process of being there for him, we also want him to become as independent as possible, his highest, best self that we can possibly
Right.
help him to get to, right? But to do that, now that he's at 22, they're done with school.
Yes.
Up to 22, you have a place for your child to go, even summer school, while you go to work.
Yeah.
Although it's usually over by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you're working full time, now you got to figure out what to do with that child from 1 until you get off work. And if
Yes.
you're a single parent, or if the parents have different schedules, I mean, all of these things need to be considered. Society needs to understand. It's like
Right.
anybody else with childcare. But the difference is once mine hits 22, okay, your typical neurotypical child goes off to college, goes to get a job, gets married, whatever. Mine stays at that same age forever. as far
Yes.
as I know,
Yeah.
and is going to constantly still need our support.
Right.
And then people will say, well, there are places for them. There's group homes. There's
Oh my
institutions.
God.
Okay, I'm thinking,
There aren't
why
institutions. Reagan got
there
rid of
aren't?
them all.
There's only group homes.
Only group
But why
homes.
would I send my child to a group home to do the same thing that I do for him at home?
Wait, let me stop you there. The problem is, yes, you can do it at home because you're educated about it and you've done it before. But we're talking about parents who have no
No,
clue. Yeah.
I'm not saying, what I'm saying is that there are people who say, well, why don't you
Oh,
just,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it'd be like somebody sending their kid to college. Why don't you
Right.
send him off? It's his time to go off and
Oh,
have
I
a
see what
life
you're
of his
saying.
own.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, but he's not going to. It's basically just sending him off to live with another family. That's
Yeah,
really all a group
that's
home is.
right,
They're-
right.
Unless they take him to a job and he wants to work, he's going to do the same thing in a group home that he would do with his own family. So what's the
Exactly.
point of that?
Right.
Separate him from his family? Why? But, the other issue is one family member is going to have to now stay home with him because other than day programs, there's no place for him to go.
Exactly.
And day programs, again, they only go part of the day. They're only 4 hours long. There's
Yeah.
no day program that goes the whole day. So you don't have people that the state will fund to watch your child the whole day unless it's through in-home support services, and then you have somebody that either comes to your home and sits with them all day at
Right.
your home, or takes them
Which-
out to places, If you're still working full time and you need somebody to come into your home and care for your child, it's great until they call in sick or they
Uh-huh.
don't show up.
Exactly.
They don't show up, and your child comes home from school and no one's there for them because that person didn't
Right.
show. It's it's way more complicated than people think, and those people drop like flies. So you get one, everybody gets used to them. Your kid is all used to them. It's all going well, and then all of a sudden that person either quits or moves somewhere or whatever, or gets
Right.
pulled off to another client, and now you got a whole new person to start over with.
Yeah.
It's hard enough for people with autism to change anything in their routine,
Right.
but that kind of in and out is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my situation, being at retirement age a few years back, after COVID, the daycares had cut back way back on the hours, and they weren't allowing the lower level functioning kids in. So we didn't have any place for him to go. And his dad, we had Jason's younger brothers were home still, and then Jason's older sister was still living at home. So there were 3 people that could help with babysitting.
Right.
But once they went off to college and Miranda moved, there wasn't anyone that we could just have help us. So since I was at retirement age, I said, well, if I take my Social Security and I can get, any kind of part-time income from IHSS, then it
Right.
should come close to what I was making. And so then I would be able to do that. So I offered to do that because there was no other solution.
Right.
And so then, they gave me the full amount of IHSS, so 40 hours a week, because of his severity.
Right.
And it's barely over minimum wage. It's not like you make a fortune, but it's at
But people
least a
think
way to
that.
stay home with him and be the parent. And then I'm trying to also get him involved in social activities,
Right.
so that he is with other young men.
Yes, I'm sorry, keyword
Interact.
trying. You take him to Walmart, you take him to the store, Mike takes him, not on jobs, but he helps him prepare for jobs. That kid's exposed to everything, music, art, fucking
He goes everywhere
work.
with us, all the family functions, and he
Yeah,
does
so
work, and he has chores.
Because I'm sorry, but and I'm not judging people because I understand not everybody has the intelligence level or the gumption or whatever you want to call it, the willpower to deal with a kid like this. Just because you have a special needs person born to you does not mean you're equipped. And I don't want to judge people who are not equipped because some people aren't meant to be parents and they have an oopsie baby and then they're parents and they're not good at it. Okay, it's hard to judge someone, but if you're not good at it, obviously you would get help. So you are good at it, so you have made it work. But I guess my point is just that there's so many people, like you said, that are quick to judge about people. It's just like welfare. They see people getting paid to take care of their special needs kid from the government as somehow it's like people being on welfare. And that's what pisses me off. It's like, I know you. And by the way, you've worked your ass off since you were 15 years old when you first started like teaching fucking baton for the city, out on the grass, a bunch of little 5 and 6-year-old fucks like me. You're teaching and getting paid at 15 years old and you've worked your whole life. And it's like, so you don't deserve, first of all, you deserve to be retired like everybody else. And on top of that, you still have your son that's going to live with you until you die. And I don't mean to be macabre, but that's reality. He's going to live with you until you either die or you literally cannot take care of him anymore. And he goes to someone else. That is fucked up. And anybody who doesn't think about that shit, and like you and anybody in your camp deserves all the money that you paid into Social Security. He's got his own Social Security. And it's like, and now fucking, don't get me started, maybe, but that RFK bastard, the RFK bastard, he wants to say that parents shouldn't be, or families shouldn't be taking care of their family members and getting paid for it. Fuck you, dude. I don't want Jason to be going to strangers. Oh, we can't pay for you to take care of your own kid. They don't get it because they don't have fucking all of those guys. Not a single one of them have a special needs child. Well, Trump may have a special needs child. We know that Barron might be autism. I don't know. I think Melania keeps him under lock and key and doesn't want anybody to know about shit about him. The fact that people are balking at people being paid to take care of their own kids that are special needs, it's like, fuck you, man. You don't know anything about it. And if you don't know anything about it, you need to keep your mouth shut, is my opinion.
Well, and you're speaking my mind for me on the whole RFK thing.
Oh God.
I haven't read the article. I really need to read it, or I need to see what it is exactly what he said. So I got this secondhand. That
I know. Me too.
They're suggesting as a way to cut funding. To lessen funding so they can pour more of it into their war games. They're suggesting cutting the IHSS type programs for parents and the full-time care. When I say full-time, I mean the 40 hours a week and so on that parents are getting. It's like, why? My question to him is why? You're still going to have to pay somewhere to help take care of these adults. These adults with autism need somebody to take care of them. Why is it not better to have the parent taking care, and especially if it's a parent my age?
If not you, who? If not your own family, your own fucking mother, who? Because guess what? They're not going to pay for in-home care. They're not going to pay for another individual to come to your home so you can go work. They're going to want them to go into a group home. That's what I would imagine, because that's cheaper, and it's not an institution, but that's their next step.
Here's why. Always follow the money with these people.
Yeah.
Their reasoning is, think about this. They have corporate prison with investors. So you actually can be a shareholder in owning a prison, right? And get dividends back on this prison.
Right.
So think about if they did that with institutions for people with disabilities. They'd have the same kind of thing going on. You'd have basically a prison, even though it's not the same as a prison, but it might as well be.
It's like an asylum. We're back to asylums.
Yes, we're back to that. Fine. But instead of the government paying for it, they will contract it out to somebody, just like they have the prisons. What kind of quality do you think you're going to get with that?
Yeah.
And so parents like me, we can still keep our kids at home, but they're not going to want to pay us. They're not going to want to pay a private one-on-one person because that's not cost effective, and they're not able to control the profit margin on that.
Right.
They want any money that goes out with the government to have some kind of ability for a profit margin somewhere.
Right.
For some shareholders. They want to monetize everything.
Well,
Even the lives of people with disabilities.
by the way, I guarantee, and I haven't read the full article, I just heard it secondhand from a mom that has sons with autism, and she put that RFK wanted to take it away. So yes, I will admit, I haven't read into it further. That's what I saw. I took her word for it because I follow her and I trust in her, but whatever. But they would be like, not only the asylum thing, but just the fact that they want to prove, like, okay, that there's bad apples, right? So they would say it was for your protection. I guarantee that's what they would be going with, because there's family members that just do it to get the money, just like welfare and just like foster people. And we're protecting all of those children. So, we're just going to do a blanket thing. And even though we know you might be a good mom, but there's some bad moms out there and dads who want to take advantage of and just take a check, but they're not helping their kids and their kids are abused. It's the same old shit. It's not about that they're being abused. It's about that you're not getting the money for whatever, and you think you're paying out too much money. That's what it's about.
It's about tax paying. It's about taxes. It's about and corporate billionaire money. And the other thing is, do you remember how it was earlier this year, and I can't remember who was talking about it. I want to say it was J.D. Vance talking about how that child care is not the responsibility of the government. Child care is the responsibility of the family, and that you need to just talk to good old auntie, or your auntie, or your mother-in-law or whoever, and get family members like in the old days to babysit your children for you.
They all work, you fucking idiot.
They all work because they can't afford to live either. So, but regardless, I'm not advocating for government paid child care. It's not that, but the same mentality is there, that it's somebody else's problem. But not every family has the auntie, the grandmother, the sister, the whoever. They have to rely on private care.
Right.
Whether it's your mother that has Alzheimer's, or your child with autism, or your 3-year-old, so that you can go to work.
Right.
You need somebody to help care, or you're not going to be able to work. And then how are you going to survive? And they want us to have more babies. Well, how are women going to have more babies if you're not willing to help them work to pay for those babies?
Right.
It's like,
did you see that thing? Did you see that thing where some lady, I don't remember who it was, that said something that was a hot button too, that she said more women, need to be having babies, and lots and lots of babies that they can't even afford. She literally said babies that they can't even afford, more babies than they can afford, or whatever, however she worded it, something like that. And they said they were even mentioning teenagers. Someone had the stupid audacity to say, there's not enough teenagers having babies. Like, what?
They were concerned that the stats are showing that fewer teenage pregnancies are happening. Well, shouldn't we be happy about that?
I know.
Anyway.
But you know what? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, my whole point is that, people like RFK and others who are pushing to cut as much as they can, logically, you've got to know that the money's going to come out somewhere. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to help pay for that person to survive. Unless you're going to start talking about euthanasia, you got to pay for that person to survive.
Yeah.
So whether it's with the family or in an institution, you got to pay for it.
Exactly.
So I've lost my faith in government all around.
No, I know.
because instead of looking for solutions that really will work for people
Right.
and coming up with win-wins, they're so busy trying to outdo each other, trying to, you know, foil each other, instead of just doing their damn job.
No
People
idea.
making decisions for them and not taking the time to sit down with the families, to sit down with the experts,
Yeah.
and talk about the truth about the facts before you
Right.
make any decisions. You know, that's
So
how
sad.
that's how you do it in the world. In business, that's how you do it if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You have a brainstorming session with your staff, with your crew, with your workers, with your shareholders, with your
Right.
even your customers, and you find out, what are you thinking? You survey. You find
Yes.
out, you know, how does this work? Why is this happening over here? Explain to me about this. And you get to know what's going on at all levels from all sides. And
Yeah.
then you have a discussion about where can we improve, what can we cut that's not necessary, and you all come together and make a win-win solution. Simple.
It is simple, but for whatever reason, they make it so complicated and costly that nobody can get ahead in life. Nobody can
Well-
have any solutions.
Because it's become the football for the big my team versus your team game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the footballs they use. There are things that Jason has learned to do. Things like Mike taught him how to use a screwdriver or a power drill.
Oh no,
To
yeah.
put screws in, and he has him take screws out. So Jason knows how to do that.
All
And
right.
he really enjoys doing it. He knows how to. There's so many things that he can do, and he was helping Mike load the truck today, or unload the truck, load the trailer. There's just a lot that he enjoys doing, and that he knows how to do, and we keep learning more and more about what he's capable of.
Right.
So, like I said, who knows what the future holds? But he needs his family, and
Yes.
you know, his dad has to work. My husband, his stepdad, has to work. I'm the only person that's not working in our family that can stay home with him.
Clearly RFK doesn't care about special people. He does not care about special people. I will die on that hill. He does not care.
He does
He
not.
thinks vaccines caused autism, even though he keeps saying, oh no, I'm not anti-vax and all that. Bullshit. You say Tylenol caused autism. You think vaccinations because you're trying to blame it on the mother. The mother took Tylenol so she could feel better after having a baby. God forbid we get any pain medication after we have a child ripped out of our cooter, or as in my case, cut open like a fucking, whatever.
Gutted like a fish.
Gutted like a fish and having my kid ripped out of my gut. All right. Yeah, I wanted some Tylenol, bitch. And you wanted Tylenol. And not to mention, the frigid mothers, or with Down syndrome, the mothers were too old. Or, name your case. You did this, you did that. It's all about the mother. What we did to those kids while they were in utero. They just want to point the finger to Eve, who ate the damn apple. That's all they want to do. It all
And
goes back
yet-
to Eve.
And yet, now it does all go back to Eve. And now they want women to keep having babies. More babies, more
Teenagers
babies.
too.
Okay, so it's like, yeah. Oh God, we could go on forever, but
I know.
Yeah.
We really should.
I want to end
really
on
want to.
on a positive high note with this.
Okay.
But I don't know how to turn it around now.
Sorry, I'm so negative. I'm a negative person.
No, it's not that. It's just it's so frustrating right now.
Yeah.
The mentality of people is just unbelievable right now.
People or certain people?
Certain people. Certain
Yeah.
people.
Certain people.
Well, I'm determined to. I'm working on a project that's going to tell the whole story, Jason's whole story.
Great.
I'm working on a project.
Great. I
And
love
if
it.
that project comes to fruition, I'm hoping to figure out a way to use it as a push for people to more people to rally behind this, and the families that autism and other disabilities are affecting. And yes, there are a lot of good things. And we don't want people to say, oh, poor, I don't want poor me. It's not that. It's that, God, work with me. It's like when people in wheelchairs just wanted ramps so they could go to the library. It's that kind of same thing. Work with us in figuring out how to make it so that we're not a drain on society.
Right.
But that we can help our child be the highest best they can be and live the best life they can live, without us going into debt or becoming, homeless because you're taking every benefit away. That's what equity is.
Yes.
Equality is one thing. Equity is, let's provide tools and methods for people who have disabilities to be able to achieve their highest potential.
Right.
And that's equity. You're creating an environment that they can also be successful.
Right.
It's not that they should be given special treatment. It's that they just need different tools to reach the same level everyone else wants to get to.
There's a beautiful analogy. You should maybe make a graphic about this yourself. You could draw it yourself and then post it. I saw it as a little cartoon. I'm sure you've seen it. And it shows like 3 kids of different heights behind a fence watching, I think it's like a football game or a baseball game. And then it has the different size boxes. And then it shows the kids are on all different size boxes so that they equally can look over the fence to watch the game. So that makes the most sense.
The fence line is equal.
Yes.
That's equality. You got a fence line, it's equal. And it's at the shoulder height of the typical person.
Right.
Equity is about giving the other people a way to get up to that level. So it's not about changing everything to make it equal. It's about providing tools in order to gain equity so you have a fighting chance.
Right.
That's all it is. And the same with autism and with parenting or with schools or any of the things that we're trying to do to help people with disabilities.
Right.
They deserve an education. You have kids who are fully there, but they have severe cerebral palsy, so they can't speak clearly. They're in a wheelchair. Some of them have trachs, whatever, or maybe they have daily seizures, whatever.
Right.
They still deserve, as they still have a thinking brain, and they still want to learn things. It's like Stephen Hawking spent,
I was going to say that,
life in a wheelchair. Look at the things he still accomplished, because people believed in him and gave him the tools he needed to do it.
Thank you. And I was going to exactly say that. We have one little boy that uses the he nods his head a little bit to do his like talking screen. I forget what it's called. It's not 80. It's something about
ACC,
something like
communication.
Right. I just can't think of it. But yeah, you're right. I think that's what it is. And I laugh because he's still experimenting with it. And it'll say stuff like, scroll down. And it'll say just something random like 5 more minutes. And then I'll go, dude, we just got started. I go, you're telling me I have a time limit? And then the kid smiles. He knows that he's not controlling it as well. And he's like 12 or 13. This kid gets that I'm making jokes with him. He can't talk. Yeah. And he doesn't, but he'll make, and he'll say, Grandma, Mom, Dad, and he'll say something and I'll just make a joke about it and he smiles, he knows. And I always give him love and I tell him hi every day. And then, like you said, it's the kids that, all the kids deserve it.
My question to people who just can't quite get what we're saying or can't follow it or can't get on board with it. What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of people do you want to be? I mean, do we want to be the kind of society that was far in the past and some that weren't in the too far past that wanted to just euthanize anybody who wasn't perfect when they were born? Do we want to be that?
I'm sure
If
they
that's
did.
what you want to be, okay, well, just admit that's what you want to be. That you want everybody to be born perfect. Okay?
Oh, but.
I know.
Oh, go
I know.
ahead. Sorry.
I know what your butt's going to be.
Okay, my big butt.
You know, so you want this utopia of perfect people that have perfect jobs, that make perfect income, and all the world is running perfectly, right? All right, but then what do you do when people start aging? What do you do if somebody has an accident and they have brain damage? So, you know, you can either be a compassionate, loving society that supports each other
Right.
and is successful, or you can be the other kind of society that's all about me, greed. I don't want to look at anything that makes me feel bad. I don't,
Right.
you know, I don't want to give
Exactly.
my money away, whatever. You know, it's one way or the other. There
Yeah.
really is no in between.
Next door, the district class that's next door, I see new teacher assistants in there all the time. It's a hard job to deal with those kids that are autistic, that are screaming and flapping and running all over the school, and then that you can't pick them up. You have to just stand there and wait till they're ready to walk in the classroom. All this stuff. They're crying all the time. They're running all the time. When I was trying to leave campus today, a kid was trying to get the pizza. He saw a little bit of the pizza that was in a Ziploc bag in my coworker's bag. He starts grabbing at the pizza. The para next door is trying to control him. And then the last thing I did was I could go, hey, we're going out this gate. You got a hold of him? She's like, yeah. We literally got out the gate and I locked the gate. That kid ran over, grabbed the lock like it was a lifeline and started trying to yank the lock shut or open, trying to open the lock. He wanted out of that gate so bad. It's like those people are dealing with that every day. You see them all
Yeah.
over campus. I don't, because our class is not like that per se, but it's the point that you also have people who are like, well, it's not my problem that that person's disabled. Okay, it's not your problem, but then you also don't like it if I had a kid, one of the kids in the class said, you know, my mom told me, she said that our doctor said that her option was to abort me when she was pregnant with me because of my ailment or whatever her ailment is. I'm not going to say it, and I looked at her and I said, wow, yeah, I know, you know what, sometimes people say those things, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, your mom did have that option. And I could go on to the girl and say, but there's people in this world that say that's evil. And yeah, you could say, yeah, you're teaching this girl and she's talking to you about it. Wouldn't that make you feel bad? It's like, yeah, of course, when you look at someone that you're talking to, you feel bad about that. But at the same time, you can't have it both ways. You can't say everyone cannot have an abortion if they choose because their kid's disabled, but then you're not going to pay for that. Guess what? This girl's mom is taking care of her. She's her caregiver. So you're going to tell me that this administration wants this little girl who said, my mom said that the doctor said she could have the option of having an abortion with me, and now you don't want to pay this mom that's been caring for this girl for her 13 years? You're going to end that? You know, it's like, what are you guys even saying? Do you hear yourselves? That kind of stuff, you know. And I'm not saying they should do that. Again, I'm not saying they should do that.
So much for us ending on a positive note. We both
Oh,
went back
shit,
down in the
Cheryl, why do
toilet.
you... Don't let me talk. Okay, I'm going to end on this positive note right here.
Okay.
I feel, when all the people I've been following, and we talked about this earlier, our little Eli, and what's his brother's name? Eli. And
Evan?
why do we always forget the poor kid?
Evan?
Sorry, Eli's brother, Evan. I don't know. Anyway, they're on TikTok and Instagram. Eli and his brother. Sorry, brother, but Eli's the one who goes, nope, no. He's
I'll put a link.
adorable.
I'll put a
Huh?
link in the description for
Yes,
for the,
because they're
for that.
adorable.
If I can, I'll figure out how to do
But-
that.
It's like, we follow these kids, and the mom's, the last post she made was, I guess he asked for strawberries, and he's never done that before. And she puts on little emoticons that show like, oh, my mind is blown. And the mom's trying not to cry. And she's like,
Right.
well, what do you want to eat? And she's probably thinking he's going to just keep saying the same shit he always says. And then all of a sudden he's like, strawberries? She's like, what the? Did you just say strawberries? And I told you, I had a girl tell me the other day she wanted to eat something for the first time. This girl, in the 4 years I've known her, has never asked me for other food. We give her food that we think she's going to eat because she's kind of picky. And all the kids, I gave them these little hash brown things that were from the school. And then I had given her little pancake bites because I know she likes those. And she asked me, what are the kids eating? I go, what do you mean? What are all those kids eating? I go, they're called hash brown bites. Do you want some? And she said, yeah, I'll try them. I'm like, what the? So I go in and I give her, and she takes a bite of it. I go, you only have to eat a bite. You don't have to eat it if you don't want to. Taste it, lick it, smell it, whatever you want to do with it. She put the whole thing in her mouth, and she goes, not bad. And I said, do you want more? She goes, no, thanks. And then she just ate her pancakes. First time in 3 years that girl has ever asked what the other kids are eating. That's a huge breakthrough. So, these kids are, and Jason too, they're having breakthroughs.
He just last night, I think it was last night, or I don't know, sometime this week. Mike had bought these little mini ice cream cones, like in the the chocolate dipped ones, they stop. Chocolate dipped ice cream cones,
Yeah.
Anyway, and some of them had nuts on top.
Oh, like drumsticks. Drumsticks?
I was trying to think of the name.
Yeah.
Drumsticks, yes.
Drumsticks. Okay.
So, Jason, he really enjoys those. But then we're sitting on the couch last night, and he said, nut bar. And I said, nut bar? I said, you mean the granola bars?
What the fuck's a nut bar, Jason?
You have plenty. Go ahead. Because they are made out of nuts.
Yeah.
They're those.
I would have thought that too. Nut bar.
Yeah. So
bars.
I said, oh yeah, there's a whole box in the pantry. Go ahead and get one. Well, he doesn't go to the cupboard. He goes to the fridge, the freezer. And I said, why is he in the freezer? He says, I need help. Nut bar, I need help. And I get up and I realize he goes there and they're all gone. There's no more ice creams. He wanted the ice cream bars with the nuts on top, so he called them a nut bar.
That just goes back to the chicken fish and the shawarma
Exactly. But it shows his effort in trying to communicate what he wants.
Oh, I'm so proud of Jace. Did you get him his goddamn nut bars?
I bought some more, and he had some last night. But
Okay.
It was too late. I wasn't going to go to the store for nut bars. I told him, go ahead and have a granola bar or a nut bar in the cupboard and be happy with it. So, anyway.
Jason.
Yeah.
See, that's a high note right there.
Yep. And he's just doing so well.
Good for Jason.
And he he went to take his bath in the morning the other day. And I forgot to, usually I help him get his clothes together. We kind of pick stuff out and put it in there. Well, I had forgotten to do that. So I came back in to wash his hair, and then all of a sudden he said, clothes. I said, oh, did I forget your clothes? Yes. Oh, okay, I'll get your clothes, buddy. Sorry about that. Usually he'll just come out naked and just, go get his clothes.
He does
But
not
he's
give
very
a fuck.
concerned. And then he did it again the other day. He looked on the counter and there were no clothes there yet. And I said, okay, enjoy your bath. And he said, clothes? Like, where's my clothes, bitch?
Wow. Where's my clothes, bitch?
So it's like,
oh, that's so awesome.
these little spurts of independence that are happening that are just awesome. So
That's
yeah.
great, man. Wait, who told you were naked? Sorry, I couldn't resist that one.
Do you remember? Oh, here's a story we forgot to tell early on when we were talking about the gym.
Yeah.
We had someone come to our gym with our STAR program. He was in my son's classroom. They were the same age.
Right.
They are the same age. And this little guy, he would scream and scream and scream when he was in that STARS class until we started doing the swinging.
Yeah.
And then eventually, he not only stopped screaming, but he also started talking. He started doing really well.
Yes.
And for a while, he was coming in to, he had a sibling that was coming
Yes, he had a brother. He had a
And
brother.
and that sibling would want to come to our events, and we had sleepovers. So
Uh-huh.
we let the little one come to the sleepover because he was starting to communicate pretty good, and we knew
He
the
was like
mom, and we weren't too worried.
6 years old, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was doing fine, and he had his brother there, so we were
Yeah.
good. But with autism, and maybe other things too, but for sure with autism, there is no filter on your body. There's no, hey, I'm naked, I shouldn't go in front of people, or hey, I shouldn't touch my private parts in front of people, or any of that, right?
Yeah.
So here we all are out having fun in the gym, playing around, and the kids are starting to kind of get ready for bed. And all of a sudden, this stark white little skinny naked boy comes walking through the room,
Well,
walking
wait a
through
minute.
the gym. Huh.
Wait a minute. We heard the screaming first from the girls.
Oh, we heard the screaming first from the girls.
And we're
The
like, what's
screaming,
going on?
the giggling, and then here comes this stark white naked little skinny body walking in, going to his bag. I'm sorry, I forgot my clothes. Getting his clothes, his pajamas, and walking back to the bathroom to put them on. It was like, you should have just put them on right there because we already saw you, but that's okay. So he walks
Right.
back through and the screaming ensues again so that he could go put his PJs on. The innocence of,
Yeah.
it's, and that's how Jason is. He comes out of the shower. If there's no clothes in there for him to put on, he'll just walk out naked, put his clothes in the laundry, and go find some clothes in his room. It's not a big deal to him.
Doesn't
But
care.
if somebody is at our house, that's my first thought. If somebody stays the night, or we have guests over or something, my first thought is, oh my God, what if he comes out naked? Because he's not a skinny little body. He's a 32-year-old, 6'1", or almost
Right.
2, very manly man.
Very manly man.
Get it?
So please understand, if you encounter an autistic person or a person doing something that's out of character, don't just judge first, and don't try to cancel, and don't try to film it and blast everybody, man. There's more to the story, and if you like what you've seen us talk about, and you
Again,
like
what
us, and
kind of a world do you want, and what
Yeah.
kind of a person do you want to be? What kind of people do you want your kids to grow to be?
right,
What kind of people do you want them to be around?
yeah,
Think about what kind of character are
Pick
you
your battles.
showing to your kids? And
pick your
what is
battles for
somebody doing to
justice.
them? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think
All right,
that
well, great wrap up on autism,
Autism
month.
Month. Thank you very much, viewers. For
Yes, thank you for
hanging in there
sticking with
all
us.
of this. Yep, I know that we can tend to just we just have so much to say, and it's
Right.
hard not to go on in tangents. It's just the way we are. But
Yep.
thank you for being here again, and
Again.
we appreciate you. So like and
you.
subscribe and comment, please. Comment,
Yes.
tell us what you think. And we'll be back to probably our
Regular shenanigans.
sarcastic nastiness next week. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, May will be doing a lot of witchy shit with May Bond, and then
oh, true.
witchy shit, and then we've got I don't know,
Well, Mother's Day.
Mother's. Oh yeah, I guess
Mother
that's
Crone.
important.
We're going to be talking about Mother
Mother's
Crone.
Day.
I mean,
God, yes,
Maiden Mother Crone.
yes.
Crone here.
Oh, we do have one birthday in May. We only have one May birthday in our family. Your granddaughter, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's the only May birthday.
It's obviously one of her favorite subjects that we will be covering during her birthday month.
Woohoo! All right.
Okay, well.
Okay,
I guess
people.
that'll do it for now.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.